Okay, thanks again as always for being here, and we always appreciate your coverage of Wake Forest football. Recapping Vanderbilt, it was a very satisfying win, and I think the reason I enjoyed it so much is that really all the units contributed. On defense, we had 2 turnovers, we had some big 4th down stops, including that goal line stand. On offense, it was very encouraging to see us run the ball as efficiently as we did against the Power 5 team. We were really good on 3rd down conversions. In special teams, we made a spectacular big-time play that changed the game. And just, after the game, I thought it was Walker Morrell. It was Keyshawn Williams that made the play. And it's funny because Jasir Taylor made a play like that last year in the NFL. And we showed that clip in a special teams meeting earlier in the year that if you have a chance to do that, if the guy blocking you is between you and the returner and you can ever launch him in the returner, it's a chance to make a play. And Key said, right when I got there, that's all I could think about was that play. And, it's just, as a coach, that's really encouraging that you show an example of something in an August meeting. It might have even been a spring meeting. And then in the heat of the moment, a player executes it. And Key's, I told our team the other day, there's guys that are good receivers or good DBs, and then there's just guys that are good football players, and he's a good football player. He could probably play tailback, safety, corner, receiver, and what a great play. And then for, Brendan Harris to have the thought and wherewithal to pick it up and scoop and score and let the officials make a decision, because usually on a muff punt you just want to recover it, but if they have possession you could advance it. So that was a game that I thought we had a small margin of error. I think Vanderbilt, and after watching the film, they are a very improved football team. I mean, that wasn't a game. I think we had 60 yards more than them the whole game, but it's a game of mistakes. We didn't play perfect. Certainly the red zone turnover, we gave up 5 explosives on defense, but we made less mistakes than them, and we still got room to improve. So we go on the road to Old Dominion. Their head coach Ricky Ronnie is someone that I know and have a lot of respect for. He did a great job as Penn State's offensive coordinator. We played him his first game as a head coach because they did not play the COVID year, and then we opened with them in 21, and they just had a big win over Louisiana. It's the same defensive structure, the same defensive coordinator. They have completely changed their offense. They're like this super, super fast tempo spread. Think kind of like Tennessee. They put the receivers almost on the sidelines and they create all this space. And they're very effective running the ball. Their back is excellent. Wicks, he's probably 6'1", 200 pounds and can make people miss and really runs. His yards after contact is impressive. And it's a really tough system because of the speed at which they play with. Like, we play with tempo. They are super fast. The ball's going to get snapped, 30, 29, 28 seconds on the play clock. So you got to get up and get aligned. They'll get 2 touchdowns a game just because teams don't get aligned. So what they do, they want to run the ball and they want to take shots. And they got excellent skill. Defensively, it's a very unique system. The linebacker Henderson, he just tackles everything. He had 86 tackles a year ago. One game he got hurt in the first quarter. Otherwise, he would have set an NCAA mark for tackles in a season. So last year he averaged, 15 and a half a game, and I think he had like 18 last week. And they're certainly solid in the special team. So we've played these group of 5 games, and it seems like every one comes down to the last play. Tulane in 16, Tulane in 18, Utah State in 19, App State in 17, Liberty last year. These, the talent level on these teams is really good, and we're on the road, and it'll be I expect a very challenging atmosphere and a very challenging game. So we need to get better, and that's what we're working on this week. I will open it up for questions.
You mentioned Old Dominion's offense. Is team speed on defense going to be even more that important with the way they start things out?
You got to tackle, because what they do is they either have their 5 lineman or a tight end. So they got 5 guys, a back, and the quarterback, and then everybody is spread out as much as you can. So they create. It's hard to like have a half and half guy. It's hard to have like a half a guy in coverage and a half a guy who's an extra run fitter, just because the space between the tackle and the receiver is so big. And what they do is, if they get the numbers right, they'll gut you. And then if you try to squeeze things and they bounce, there's these huge alleys. And I think the whole key this week, it's football. We got to tackle. But because of the nature of what they do, a lot of the tackles are going to be one-on-one space tackles. That if you don't make the tackle, there's a lot of room. And then they've got some really neat things on the outside. They'll throw quick screening goes. They'll take deep shots. They're going to throw the ball deep 10 to 12 times a game, and they're average connecting on 5 of them. So they're hitting. Those are usually low percentage throws, and they hit half of them. So the quarterback's a good player. He transferred from Fordham. He came with the offensive coordinator. Their O-line coach, Alex Huddle, played for us at Bowling Green. Tony Lucas, their running back coach, worked with us at Bowling Green. So there's certainly familiarity with a lot of their coaches, but they're doing a nice job. And last year they lost a lot of close games. So he's a good coach, and they're certainly talented. And it's not like they haven't had success. They've beaten Virginia Tech, I think in 2018 and last year as well. So they beat last year they lost to Virginia by 2 points. They're a program that they're not so focused on playing the guarantees. They want to have big teams, Power 5 teams, come to their stadium and sell tickets. And so they're used to hosting games like this.
You often say that a team grows the most from week 1 to week 2. After you now watch the tape, where do you think your team improved the most in the second half?
Well, probably stating the obvious, we ran the ball better. Now, part of that was that we played better, and part of that was how we were defended. I thought on defense, our havoc rate, our disruptions were up. We had our havoc rate at 31%. And when you can create stress in the backfield, a lot of times that leads to interceptions and pressure. So to me, the biggest takeaways were, we ran the ball a lot better. I thought our third down conversions, the protection, I thought Mitch didn't hold on to the ball as long, so we didn't take as many sacks. I thought we covered really well again in the secondary. Those 2 players they had, Shepard and McGowan, are good players, and they're going to move the ball against everybody. And I think against us, I want to say they had 11 or 12 catches for like 155 yards. But we limited the run game, and we found ways to get off the field. We weren't great on third down, but we were really good on fourth down. And again, there was a few, to me, like, if we don't get that goal line stop, it's a different game. If we don't get that scoop and score on the punt return, it's a different game. I felt that was 2 even teams, and they just made a few more mistakes than we did.
Notice Nick Sharp and Brendan Harris are not on the depth chart. Can you give us an update on them?
Nick Sharp should be on the depth chart. Nick Sharp? Oh, I'm sorry, Nick Anderson, I thought you said. Nick Sharp is going to be out for probably at least 6 to 8 weeks, and Brendan Harris is going to probably be out for 4 to 6 weeks.
6 to 8 weeks on Nick Sharp?
Yeah, probably. I would say that's probably about a 2-month injury, that we might be able to get him back some point in November. And Brendan Harris will get him back sooner, but he'll probably be out for at least a month. So I'd say, Nick Sharp, best case scenario is probably 7-8 weeks. Brendan Harris probably 4 to 6 weeks.
Does that mean on the offensive line?
Well, we're hoping to have Spencer Clapp back this week, but Matt Gulbin will start at guard, and Matt's playing really well. He's played tackle for us last week and did a great job. Eric Russell played really well. Like I said after the game, Nick Tabaka's done a great job here of developing offensive linemen, and we have good depth. We're going to miss Nick for sure, but we have other guys that are capable of playing. And, George Sell has had a really good camp and some good practices. So he's very capable of well. So I still feel like we got, 8 playable guys. And we just got to see where Spencer Clapp is this week in terms of, Matt will probably play guard, and then, it's a matter of whether we have Spencer and Devo, or if it's Devo and Eric Russell, or Zach Vaughn is also doing well. So.
Coach, how about Justice and Chase, I guess?
I don't think, like Chase, I would say it's possible, but probably doubtful. I'd say Justice is more probable, but anytime you come back from that injury, you can't have a setback. And so right now with both of them, it's progressing positively, but as soon as you get to like Wednesday, if they're not full go, it's probably unlikely. So again, we're very happy with how Jacob Roberts is playing, Dylan Hazen, Quincy Bryant. We've got depth at both those positions, and obviously DeMond and Tate played really well too. But we'd love to get Justice back, and Chase is our captain, so we definitely miss him out there.
Jacob, after the spring meeting, you mentioned through the spring he had struggled at the beginning of it and really came on late. Have you seen him keep the upward trajectory?
Yeah, he's so instinctive. Certain guys are just good football players. And like with Jacob, he's still learning the defense, and his fits aren't always exactly the way we teach him. He's just such a productive football player. He just, no, yes, right? And, now more times than not, he's right. It's just the handful of times he's wrong, right? It can cost you. But he's just instinctive, athletic. He's got really good ball skills. He's been a really good special teams player. He's a really good football player that I think he's one of those guys, the more he plays and the more comfortable, the better he's going to be. Right now we're in really good shape at linebacker, but it would be great to have Chase back, because when you lose a guy like Chase, now it just adds reps, and then it starts thinning you out in special teams. And Devon Patterson will get a chance to play this week now, and he's going to be a good player. But Brendan Harris was a really good special teams player. He's on punt team, and he's on kickoff and kickoff return, and he gave us a lot of valuable reps there. And so that's gonna, we're gonna have to get another person in there, and that's always our battle here, right? Is we, because of how we run the program, because that we're still trying to redshirt people, these injuries have a tendency to thin us out. Now, I think the good thing is we have some freshmen this year that, if we can stay healthy through October, I think there's some guys that could really give us some good reinforcements in November in the special teams, and whether that be Travion West or David Egby, Rashawn Tung. Like if we didn't have depth at those positions, those guys would be playing. So right now it's Aiden Hall and Devon Patterson and Tyler Black did a great job kicking. That was another, to me, the touchbacks compared to a year ago. We just got to make sure we're still prepared to cover kicks. Right now, those guys are spoiling us.
What was the flip from Caleb against Elon to Tyler against Vandy?
Caleb last week on Wednesday had lower back pain and couldn't kick. And it was really we went into the Elon game and we were going to split the kicks, and then, then his first kick, he kicks it to the end zone. So you really want to then, it's like when you want to play two quarterbacks and the quarterback goes down and leads your team to a 16-play drive and is sharp. Even though you want to maybe put the other guy in, you're like, ugh, he's playing well. And so, Caleb kicked the ball well, but Tyler kicked it really well too. He didn't just kick it to the end zone. Some of those kicks were at the back of the end zone. So that was, clearly an area a year ago that we weren't very good at. Part of it was we didn't recruit a kicker because of Ivan Moore, and then Ivan got hurt in the Gator Bowl, and, one thing leads to another, and he's not at full strength. And now the good thing is he is at full strength, and he's punting the ball better. So I feel, pretty good with where we are in the kicking game right now. I think the specialists are doing a really good job.
How do you feel about your defenses limiting yards after catch?
I think we're covering well, Dave, and we're breaking on the balls well, and we're tackling well. Kalen Carson didn't have an interception in the game, but that might have been the best tackling game he's ever had here. I mean, Kalen is 6'1", 190, 95 pounds, and he's just playing so physical right now. I mean, there were some inside runs that I thought it was I watched the game, I thought it was a safety. I thought it was Kalen going in there, and I go back and watch the film, and it's Kalen. And he just is tackling very physically. And that was a problem a year ago, right? How many 5 or 6 yard hitches, did we give up, and then we miss a tackle and it becomes a 20-yard play. And so, in football you got to limit explosives, and the way you give up explosives is you let the ball over your head, you lose leverage in the perimeter, or you miss a tackle on the second or third level. So we had less than 10 missed tackles the other day, which is usually a pretty good goal. If you're under 10, you're pretty happy with it. If it gets in the double digits, you're probably in trouble.
Dave, how do you feel about making your debut on CW Network next week?
John, that's like a dream come true. When I got into coaching, I just said someday I hope I can be on the CW.
You mentioned the TV, though. Is that help with the program?
Yeah, I mean, exposure is good. I mean, it's, we know each other's ages, right? When we, grew up, there might be one football game on, or 2 football games on, the whole Saturday. And, then when ESPN got college football, it was more, and, now all of our games are on TV. And so when you recruit guys out of Florida or out of Texas or, the Northeast, for their parents to be able to watch their sons on TV every week is great. Obviously, the way it's set up, we love it when we're on ABC or ESPN, because those games draw the most and have the biggest exposure and the biggest eyes on them. But it's great that we're on TV every week. It's great for our, our players and their families. So it's all good. So, but whether CW, I just really didn't really register with me earlier. So, but it's great that we have more media partners.
Anything else, guys?
Tony, you're quiet today. Usually there's this philosophical question. I always every day Will, what's the philosophical question that Tony's going to ask me?
Saving it for downstairs. You've given me what I need.
Okay, good. No complaints? Last week you didn't like our kicking game. You're out late last night, huh? A little hungover? Okay. All right, thank you. We'll see you down in the dinner room there.